Hello everybody on YouTube and also everyone who is watching live on Twitch. Today I'm going to be doing a tier list of all the investigators for Elder Sign abilities. I got to start this video by saying that this is my personal tier list, so if you disagree with it, more power to you. This game has a lot of complexities in how we evaluate things, so everybody's different, but this is for me, how I view the power level of all the Elder Sign abilities. Number 2. Just because I put something you like in the D tier doesn't mean I'm saying you're wrong. Some people might feel that way, and I just want to say right now, these are just my opinions, my playstyle, what I view, but I'm sorry, Jim's Elder Sign sucks. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say this right now, Jim's Elder Sign is not that great. It's just, we have to look at all the other ones, Jim is not going to exactly come, we're not going to come screaming for Jim. Anyway, that's enough Jim slander. We're going to go through this in order of what I have here, and I have them on the screen, so you don't need to look them up yourself. So we're going to start with Roland Banks, and his Elder Sign is +1 for each clue on your location. +1 for each clue on your location. So Roland Banks, he likes having clues on his locations when he's fighting monsters. So in general, it's not you're going to get like +1, +2. On 3 or 4 players, you can get up to like plus 12. That's a nice dream, huh? This is kind of still just not great though, right? Like it's not an exciting Elder Sign. It's just, it gives you +1. And I think what makes an Elder Sign really good is if it does something else. So an Elder Sign that just gives you a bonus, while good, is not going to be high on a tier list for the power levels, especially when we start seeing some other things. Tactus has a great point, +12 with shotgun. That is pretty wild. But I still think just on its own, just the text on the card, this is going to just be, I'm going to be giving this a C. That's his parallel one. This is just going to be a C tier for Roland's Elder Sign. Like, it's not, like, terrible, right? It's not, like, D tier, but it just kind of, like, does nothing, right? It just does nothing. It just helps you pass the test, which is exciting, but some other investigators allow you to pass the test and do something more. Yeah, and an Elder Sign that has a capacity to be at 0, but in fairness on that, if you are taking a test, it's like you're trying to pass the test. So if you fail on a 0, you're already in a bad time, right? All right. Daisy Walker, effect +0. If you succeed, draw 1 card for each tome you control. Now this is already a lot better. This does more. This does something than just passes you the test. This draws you cards. This is nice. I'm trying to think of like where I'd put it. I'd probably just put this one. You draw the Elder Sign, you pass the test, you say that's great, and then you get the Elder. You get to draw some cards. You pass the test and you draw cards. That's pretty sick. For me, Daisy, she's an easy A tier. Unless she has the Necronomicon. Yeah, it's true. But the thing is, we're not talking about the what-ifs. We're just talking about just the text on the Elder Sign, I think. We're talking about just the text on the Elder Sign, what it's capable of. BIMO drawing Necronomicon. Yeah, but you also could draw like your Ward of Protection, and that's kind of sick. It does something, right? On average, it's draw 1 card. And even that, like, if my Elder Sign just said, hey, draw a card, I'd be like, that's kind of sick. But this could also draw you 2 cards. It could also draw you 3 cards, right? I think it's just good. It's just an A tier. It's definitely not B tier. It's definitely not B tier. Skids O'Toole, +2. If you succeed, gain 2 resources. So on Skid, that represents an action. This is also the first one where you get you get a +2 flat. Like, Roland can go high, but it also can be 0, and Daisy's is always 0. If Daisy's was +1, I think that would be enough to bump it into A+. I think this is a very good Elder Sign. I think for me, this is going to be an A+ tier. I don't think it's S tier. An S tier needs to break the game for me. Like, an S tier needs to, like, really just give me something juicy, right? It does help with his low stats, which is really nice, right? I think it's a very good Elder Sign, but it's not S tier for me. It's A+. It's A+. It's a very strong Elder Sign, though. Agnes Baker. +1 for each horror on Agnes Baker. Does the fact that it's Skids hurt it? No, I don't think so, because if we go back to Skids here, it balances out because Skids is... he gets the +2, right? So he gets +2, so it balances out the fact that his stats are kind of poopy. +1 for each horror on Agnes Baker. So you're going to have a lot of horror on her because of your ability, so this could eventually turn into... something good, right? Like, this could end up being like a +5. However, it does nothing. It helps you pass the test. And at that point, honestly, a +5 is about as good as a +1, right? Like, if you're taking a test 5 down, you're gonna... Like, and you're depending on your Elder Sign, that's bad. And also, like, what's happening with your game, right? So, like, when you think about it, a +5 equals a +1. So that's why, for me, Agnes is sitting down here with Roland because it also just does nothing. It just does nothing. Right? It's good. Like, it has the potential to be really high. But at that point, a +1 equals a +5. And that's good, right? Like, if the token causes you... Sorry, I'm just turning my gain up. If the token causes you to pass your test, then that's good. But it's not powerful, right? It's good, but it's not powerful, in my opinion. It's kind of worse than Roland's. I can agree, but I don't think it's D tier. And also, I'm not, like, ordering them on this. I'm just putting them in the tier. Just because eventually they're going to be swallowed by this big card image on the right. Okay, Wendy Adams, +0. If Wendy's amulet is in play, you automatically succeed instead. I know we're not looking too much at context, but the symbol +X Elder Signs are better on Gators with low defensive stats. I do agree with that. I do agree. But the thing is, like, you very rarely, like you have the power to get your own Elder Sign in that, but then you're still just, like, spending a card to pass a test. And, like, I'm not too stoked on that, right? Like, for me, I'm like, I want to see something huge. I want to see something big, right? I want to see something big. Realistically, there's probably not going to be... I'm going to be hard-pressed to find a D-tier investigators with an Elder Sign. Like, if I had to choose one in my entirety of ARKHAM, it would be the guy I played in the Darkest Dungeon expansion one. This definitely, though, this +0, if Wendy's amulet is in play, you automatically succeed instead. That's definitely a C tier. It follows the plan for what everyone else we have over here, right? It follows the juice. Like, it just follows it makes you pass the test, right? I would say B since it's an auto succeed. Yeah, but so is, like, really, like, Agnes's, right? For most of the time. Yeah, the Darkest Dungeon Mystic, the Elder Sign is -2. That guy was like a W tier or something, right? Yeah. It doesn't require her to be weakened. That is fair, but at the same time, like, with Agnes, your plan is to be weakened. And then also what Mr. Wonderboy is saying, most Elder Signs, by their very nature, they should cause you to pass the test. They should be auto-succeeds. So this basically just says draw the Elder Sign. It really just basically says draw the Elder Sign, pass the test. This also usually will say, draw the Elder Sign, pass the test, right? A little bit less, but it gives you resources. And I think it's just a better effect. All right, Zoey, +1. If this skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. That's a good effect. It doesn't trigger all the time, but it is very nice. If you draw it during an attack, you say, oh my god, I am literally unstoppable. You draw it during an investigate that you're doing for some reason. You say, why am I doing an investigate action? What's wrong with me? If you do it during a brain test, you say, that's cool, I passed the test. I'm stuck between A and A+, I think. But I think the problem is that's going to keep it out of A+ tier for me is that it's not always active, right? It's not always active. It's so tough because it is very strong. Half of her tests she's taking is fight. The other half is probably brain tests. I think, though, I have to put it in A just because it's not always on, right? I think it's very good. I think it's very good, but because it's, Board Game HQ Game Lab, 100% strong, but limited. And I feel like we have to appreciate that limited, right? And then also, what 999999999_1 is saying. I've only drawn a 1. Sometimes you also don't need that extra damage. That's actually a completely fair point. I think that's completely fair. Sometimes you don't even need the extra damage, and then it's just a +1, and then it's not relevant. And I think the fact that sometimes it's not relevant keeps it out of A+, but A is still a very good Elder Sign. Rex Murphy, +2. You may instead choose to automatically fail this skill test to draw 3 cards. All right, I'm thinking on this one. This can absolutely gas you up. It's true. Yeah, why? But why you choosing to fail? This is my play style, right? If I'm here with Rex, I've committed my deduction to my test. I'm already up the 2 I need to be. I draw the Elder Sign, and I say, yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to pass the test. I draw this during a test I'm going to fail. I draw 3 cards. That's really cool. However, Stu Dunspars has a great point. Why are you choosing to fail? Seeker card draw is already so good. It's already so good. And you have, I think this is a B for me. I think this might be the first one I disagree with on a lot of chat, but I think this one's just a B. 1 second, I have a phone call I need to answer. Yeah, sorry. Shapes is right. That was just FFG calling me to, they're mad about Rex. They were like, what are you doing? He's down here in the B tier. It's still good, but I think it's not. I don't think it's. I think Daisy, Zoey, and Skids are all better. You can fail to get rid of the curse. It's true, right? And there's a lot of great points in the chat. I'm just going to read. Right, the +2 helps you succeed by 2 if you weren't out there already. But the thing is, my card draw is already so good that most of the time I'm committing my cards to my tests that I really don't need to fail to draw 3. I think that Rex was really good. His Elder Sign was very good when the Seeker card pool was a lot smaller. But now the card draw is just so insane. When Dunnage came out, I would be like, this is a S tier Elder Sign. But I think there's just better Elder Signs now. Yeah. I think it's good. And the draw 3 is super poggy. But I think just sitting at B is pretty fine. Okay. Jenny Barnes. +1 for each resource you have. Say it with me, chat. C tier. It follows the same thing that all these other ones have. It's just more. It's just more. It's literally the same as Agnes, pretty much, right? Yeah. Like, it's good. It's like, these aren't bad elder signs. Like, once again, because I know some people, they watch tier lists and they think I'm saying these elder signs are bad. The elder signs are not bad. They are just lower quality, in my opinion, and strength than these ones, right? See you later, Jenny. For example, I was playing this one on Monday's stream, and I would draw it, and either time I was already up by my requisite 3. So I was like, all right, now I'm going to get +32 Poggy. I do Lucky Cigarette Case. I look through my whole deck, right? And, like, that's cool, but still, like, not that impressive. Like, if I'm looking at... The difference between looking at 9 cards and looking at 15 cards, if that makes or break your game, you're probably having a bad time. What would it take for you to give him a D? So I think for a D, it needs to be actively harmful to you. Yeah. Like, if you draw the Elder Sign and it's actually a problem, like if we look at the Mystic from, the custom Mystic from Darkest Dungeon, that would be an Elder Sign I would give a D to, for example. It's -2. You may shuffle a weakness from your discard pile into your deck to automatically succeed instead. That's what I would call a D tier Elder Sign. I don't know if any Elder Sign in the base game is going to get D tier. And that's fine. D tier can exist and be empty. That is okay. Who's next? Jim! Effect +1. Anytime you reveal an Elder Sign token, you may choose instead to treat it as a Skull token. Alright. So Jim's Elder Sign effect on its own without the other text is just +1. We have to just respect that for a second. It's just +1, right? The synergy that comes with Jim in being able to choose to treat it as a Skull token does have its benefits. This is one where we have to look a bit beyond just the text on the card, right? It does have the options. Yeah. Yeah, Brent Henson's like in my freaking head right now. Yeah, +1. So baseline, he's C. My question is there enough that we have to consider with Jim that makes this be a B tier thing? And compared to Rex, probably not. This is probably just realistically another C tier. We're going to see a lot of these C tiers for sure. At least in the early game, right? Yeah. It's still conditional like the other C tiers. Jim is he's just a guy with a +1 in his Elder Sign. Sometimes it's a 0. All right. Ashcan Pete, +2, Ready Duke. Good Elder Sign ability. Very strong. Very good. What's the payoff? Trumpet? Song of the Dead? Other garbage? Other garbage? Ashcan Pete's very good. You play around Duke. Duke is what you do. This is not A+, but it is A tier. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think for me it's A+. I think it doesn't give you enough. I do think that the Skids is 2 resources and essentially 1 action. I mean, it doesn't give you an extra action. Like, it's like one of those things. I do think that, I think it's just an A. I think it's just an A. That's what my gut is. Yeah, that's my gut. I think it's just an A. And I can't explain it more, but that's where I feel like this one fits. +1 for each damage on Mark Harrigan. Bad news. Bad news, Mark. Your Elder Sign ain't great. Bad news, buddy. That's a C tier. You have all of the... That's actually a fair point. Go back. Well, Mr. Wonderboy has a great point. So, sorry, Mark. This is basically... It's like half draw card. It's true. Right? It's true. Technically, it's another action because Duke can move before he investigates. Yeah, but he also might be doing combat Duke. And he's like biting. Hum, 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 hum. Yeah, nobody's perfect. Stupid sexy tier Mark Harrigan. For the first time, he's down in the dumps. Mark, where are you? Don't hide on me. There you are. This one's also, this is pretty much just Agnes's, right? So if I put it higher, everyone would be like, you have some bias. But like, it's basically just Agnes's, but for damage, right? Yeah. C is the dumping ground, it's true. Like, maybe if we have a C tier, that's huge. But I think this is all fair. These are all just, I would call these C tier Elder Sign abilities. They're just fine. Minh Thi Phan, +1. You may choose a skill card committed to the skill test to return to its owner's hand after this test ends. Huh. More deduction. Whatever this is, Silas's is. I disagree with that. I do disagree with that, Mr. Wonderboy. And I've played them both a lot. Where do we put Min? It's not C tier. We can cut that one out. It's better than Rex's, so it's not B tier. And it's after this test ends, so you still get the benefit. Yeah. It's not always active, but with Min, you should be trying to commit things ASAP. Like as soon as possible, all the time. I'm just trying to think of when you wouldn't. If it's a negative skill card, right? I think Min's is an A. I think she's an A tier. I think she's an A tier, but A tier Elder Sign there. I think so. If it was +2, I think I would get to But the thing is, it could be +0 and it would still be just as good. So maybe not. Is it maybe A+? Is it maybe? In my playstyle, this is poggy for me. But I like to take my playstyle out and look at it as just. I think it's an A+. I think it's an A+. I think Silas is an A+. I think Silas is an S tier. It's very strong. It's very strong. I think Min is A+. Sefina Rousseau. Elder Sign, +3. You may choose an event beneath this card and draw it. B. B tier. It's good. It's good. It's not Daisy Walker good. It's just a B tier. It's a good. It's +3. So they were like, we know that this effect's not the strongest, but it can be really good. It can get you the exact thing you need. The +3 though. But this goes back to my point. The difference between +5 and +3. And her stats are all defensive. It's all defensive. So you're very rarely making a book test because you're going to be using your brain for that. I think this is just a B tier. I look at this and I just see that's a B for me, baby. It's good though. It's a good Elder Sign. Akachi, +1. Add 1 charge to an asset with uses charges you control. How is this different than Min? That's a great question. Because if you remove the cards from underneath you, you have those options where you just don't you have your painted worlds, which you now can't play things all the time, and also you're going to be it's just not as, to me, it's not as exciting. It's not as powerful. Those cards are there. You can draw them from your hand, right, as you want to. But to me, most of those events are there are for my 3 painted worlds, and then I can start getting them. I just think it's like, I think it's just B. I think it's just B. The choosing a card beneath you is not as good as the Daisy's draw, in my opinion. And Min's skills, you get the benefit from the skill that Sefina, like, she just gets to take the card. She's just drawing a card. Min's is so good because you also get a benefit from the skills. So you play your deduction on a test, you get an extra clue from your deduction, and then you pull that deduction back into your hand and play it again. And that's why it's so strong. With this one, you weren't getting any value from that card unless you had your painted world. So it does put in your hand, but it's effectively just like limited card draw, right? And the +3 doesn't really sway me too much. Not with Sefina. If it was Skids, that would bump me up a bit, because that +3 could be good. But the same argument. You want cards beneath you, and Min wants to commit. So you make a fair point, but I think they are the same. I don't think they are the same. I just don't. Because, like, skills versus events is very different. It's very different, right? Yeah, I filled my hard drive with tier lists. But 2 levels less? Yes, I do think 2 levels less. I do. I do. Akachi. +1. Add 1 charge to an asset with usage charges you control. I think that this was a lot better earlier on, and I think it's less good now. You don't need to pass. I think this is just an A tier. I think it's just an A tier. You're going to have charges, but I don't think it's... I think now at this point, like if this was 2 sets ago, or like whenever before Twyla came out, this would have been a lot higher, but I think now it's just an A tier. I think it's just an A tier. Twyla now is basically just endless charges. It's good. It's good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's A+. Yeah, I think this one has gone down in power, right? Yeah. William Yorick, +2. If this test is successful, return 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. S tier. This is our first S tier. First S tier, easy. Yeah. It's any card, not just asset, right? It also, it's, the thing is as well, the reason why this is S tier over Min's is Min's you have to take the test and have card committed, right? Which you're going to be doing a lot. However, this is also why Silas, when we get to him, your graveyard, your discard pile, graveyard because he's a gravedigger, is always has cards in it, especially even more with Yorick. So this card basically says, +2, draw a card of your choice from your discard pile. So that's why it's better than regular card draw, right? It's just, like, really good. Yeah, short supply is also a thing now too, right? Like, you draw this, you get incredible value. You get the exact thing that you want. Silas's and Will Yorick's Elder Sign are very similar in theory. They're very similar. You just get the card of your choice, you put it into your hand, and you get to play it again, right? If it's a skill card, you get to commit it to a test in the future. I don't think it's just really good. Will Yorick is an easy S. And it's just because it's get the card you want. It's just get a card. That's incredible. Lola Hayes, +2. You may switch roles. I think it's a bit better than C, so I think I have to put it in the B tier. Because it actually, does something, right? It does something. Because it gives you +2, but it does something. It may not do something, but it actually like does something more than just a modifier. So I think that's better than, Jim also, that's the thing, right? I think it's a B tier. I think it's B. I think it's just, it does something. That really makes Sefina look a lot worse. Sefina, congratulations, you're up on A tier. I think yours is better than Lola's and Rex's. I've convinced myself, right? I've convinced myself Sefina should be in the A tier. Yeah. I think that's fair. Brent Henson's saying I think C should be something plus modifier and D should be raw modifier. I think that's very fair, and we might adapt to that. Maybe we do. Maybe we do adapt to that. I think just C. I think D. I have to go with my, like, a D tier. A D tier elder sign is one that I don't want to draw, right? With a D tier, if I draw a D tier elder sign, my thought process is, no, please not elder sign, right? C tier is just like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I drew the elder sign, that's okay. That's good. We passed the test, right? D is the lowest. D is the lowest. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see a D tier. And I understand that some people might want the D tier filled, but I just think it doesn't belong in this one. Leo Anderson. Search +2. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for an ally asset and draw it. Shuffle your deck. It's a good ability. It's a good effect. It's good. A tier? A tier. That's just easy. That's just an A tier, right? That's just an A tier. I don't think it was A+. If it was Search 6, it would have been an A+. But I think with Search 3, Leo. There you are. Yeah, it feels on par with Daisy. You can miss, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Ursula Downs, +1. After this test ends, you may move to a connecting location. So, can anyone say a moment where you've actually, like, used this to your advantage? Because most of the time with this one, I've always just been like, okay, I came to this location for a reason. And I'm going to stay here. So, like, it's good. But I think it's just a B tier. I think this one feels, yeah, this one feels very B tier. Yeah, I guess I'll move. I don't know. Yeah, unless you grab the last clue. There are times where this will work. Yeah, and if you haven't used your free investigate, the answer is always move. I agree. But I do think that there are so many times when it's just a +1 that it can't be an A tier. IMO. I think it's just a B tier, for me, anyway. Finn Edwards, +1 for each exhausted enemy in play. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may discover 1 clue at your location. There's a lot of text here. There's a lot of magical Christmas land as well. There's a lot of us looking at this card and being like, ooh, what can we do here? This is incredible. But it doesn't trigger all the time. When it does, it feels good, but I think this just fits into the B tier. I think this one just hangs out with all of its friends. I think we're going to actually, now that we have like the baseline set, we're actually probably going to move through the rest of these pretty quick, right? Not reliable. Not reliable. Could all end up being a +0. You have to succeed by 2 or more. If you draw it and you still only succeed by 1, that sucks. Yeah, I think it's just a B tier though. Just B. Father Mateo, here we go. Oh yeah, there's times where Finn's can be very good. I do agree. But I think it's like there's times where it also just does nothing. So I think B is a good ranking for it. You automatically succeed after this test ends. Either choose one. Draw a card to gain a resource. If it is your turn, you may take an additional action this turn. So there's something we ought to just talk about for a second. That the automatically succeed, to me, is not the exciting part here. Because as I've been talking, the elder signs are... always, I treat those as I'm going to pass the test when I draw it, right? But the... I mean, he is S tier. Like, I'm not going to dramatize it anymore. This guy's it's a very strong elder sign ability, right? Right. Yeah. We have a question, why is Zoey better than Finn? Let's go back and look at this. I think Zoey's just triggers more. I just feel like it does. I feel like Zoey's is more relevant in all the play I've had. It might just be like my own bias in history, but I've seen a lot more of Zoey go off than Finn's elder sign. Because like if there's no, I don't know. Yeah. You have Mr. Wonderboy has a great point. They're making the content for me. You have way more control of when you attack than how many enemies are exhausted, how much you succeed by. I think it just triggers more. Yeah, Father Mateo's is chef's kiss. Very good elder sign. All right, Kelvin Wright, +0. You may either heal 1 damage or 1 horror, or take 1 direct damage or direct horror. Wild. So obviously you want to take horror and damage because it makes you better. And obviously you want to heal because it makes you not die. This one's tough. This one's tough. My instinct says that this guy should be in the B tier. Excuse me. Yeah. Because like you don't have to pass to get the healing or the damage. And the damage also, like when you take the direct damage or direct horror, it's effectively a +1 for your test, right? I think it's just another B. When I draw this, I'm not like, let's go. I think Kelvin's just weird. Yeah, you'll always use it, but I don't think the effect is that exciting, right? Yeah, just like it's... You had a weird crossroads as well, where you get to a certain point where your Kelvin deck is like set. You have your stats, and you actually do not want to heal. And you do not want to take damage, right? So it's one of those things where you're kind of like, I guess I'm just going to treat this as a 0. And I think that's why it's not an A tier. Because sometimes it's just kind of nothing, right? You just get a +0. And your stats are good, so you're passing the test. But I'm not excited. I'm not like, I don't look at an elder sign and say, thank God this has helped me pass the test. That's what I expect, right? That's what I expect. Carolyn Fern, +1, you may heal 1 horror from an investigator or ally asset at your location. Yeah, it doesn't need to succeed. you just get it. That also turns into a resource, right? Yeah, it's really heal 1 horror, gain 1 resource. Very helpful to heal allies. All right, it's not B tier. It's not C tier, obviously. Is it better than Leo's? Is it better than Akachi? Sefina, Ashcan, Zoey. I think it's just an A tier for me, TBH. I think it's just an A tier. I think it's just an A tier. This is the wrong thing. We scroll down here. And it's because I'm not scared of dying. I'm not scared. So I view I mean, it might be A+. The problem is just Min's is so much better. Min's is so much better. It's an A+. It's an A+. I think it might be an A+. The reason is because, like, if there was a token in the cup that just said heal a resource, heal a horror, gain a resource, everyone would be like, I want to draw that token as much as possible, right? Yeah, it's just, if that token existed, everyone would want to draw it, right? This one's tough for me. I feel like it, like, depending on when you ask me, it's going to switch between A and S. It's going to switch between A and S. Right? Like, it has to. Or A and A+, not S. Not S. She's not an S tier. It's good, but not S tier. And it's an investigator. The fact that it's not you, I think, is what makes it A+ for me. It's an investigator or an ally asset at your location, right? There's just a lot of things that you have that give you goodies, right? It gives you goodies. You're going to hit somebody. You're going to hit something in play. Who's next? Joe Diamond, +1. You may move an insight event from your discard pile to the bottom of your hunch deck. That sounds like an A to me. I think it fits with all these guys, where it just gives you more value in your ability, but it's not exactly gangbusters like these guys are. I think it's just a solid A. It's a good card. You can put like a really good card into your hunch deck, but then you might not see it for a few turns. That's what's keeping it from A+ for me, right? But it's still just, I think it's a good Elder Sign. Anytime you draw it, you're like, all right, let's go. Too slow? Yeah, it's too slow, but like it's still just like card advantage in a way, which I think to me, it's better than all these guys. Like, it's always going to hit because you're looking to play, like, unless for your first action you do a test instead of just like playing the top card of your hunch deck because your hunch deck was either built badly or you got the wrong card, right? I don't think it's A+ though, because it is slow. You don't see it for sure. I also love Joe. Joe's really fun. I've really fallen in love with Joe this year. Preston Fairmont, +0. You may spend 2 resources to automatically succeed instead. No, I think this one, I'm kind of with Shafes on this one. I think this one is a B just because I have to respect Preston here a bit, right? Yeah, and it's just because he needs it. Like it's kind of like the Kelvin Wright thing, right? Where it's part of his character. We can't really separate his elder sign from his character here. Yeah, it's basically like, thought this was independent mostly. I mean, it is in most cases, but I also have to look at like where they exist, right? Like where the character is, right? Because with Min, she helps other people on tests as well, so that's why it makes it a little bit better, right? Daisy Walker needs tomes in play, otherwise she would have to be a lot lower because then we wouldn't assume you have tomes in play, right? If we assume you have resources, and with Preston Fairmont, this is pretty nice. It's not great. Yeah. And it's the same with Ursula Downs. We have to respect hers a bit too because she can get investigates off of this. I think this is going to be a... If you play Poor Preston, this one's awful. If you play Poor Preston, this is an awful, awful elder sign. Because the times you want it in the Mythos phase, you can't get it, right? But if you like Preston with any amount of money, this is it makes you just like do this. But I think that this is just a C tier. I think it's just a C tier. Diana Stanley. +2. You may choose a card beneath Diana Stanley and add it to your hand. It's very good. It's a very good effect. So we have to look at Sefina to compare this because Sefina's is a very similar effect, right? So Diana, she takes a card from her basement, which lowers her brain, but she can then use it again, right? And then that card replaces itself and you also gain a resource, right? Yeah, the temporary loss on willpower it might not be an issue. But the problem is... I mean, there's no problem. She's just A+. I don't think she's S tier. She's A+, though. I think she's A+. Yeah, I think she's up here. She's A+. That's a very good elder sign. Yeah, the thing is it's slightly worse than Yorick because I just feel it in my soul. Because, like... Here's the thing, right? People might be saying, but why is Diana worse than Yorick? Let's assume you grab a Ward of Protection or a Deny Existence from beneath your basement, right? You then use it on the next Mythos card you have because that's the job, right? And then it's like you drew a brain test and you're like, I could have easily passed this. Yes, I get a card and a resource, but I spent a card and a resource. You basically just like don't gain anything. Yeah, I think Diana's really good, but I don't think she's S tier. I'm pretty confident in that placement. Rita Young, +2. Until the end of the round, ignore the limit on the above reaction ability. So the above reaction ability is after you've evaded an enemy, either deal 1 damage to that enemy or move to a connecting location. I cannot tell you the number of times that I have drawn this Elder Sign token and I'm just like, well, I evaded my last enemy, so screw you, Rita Young. I do like Rita now. I do think she's kind of fun to play. However, I do think that this is a bad Elder Sign. It's just going down into this C tier. It just belongs with the others. If we give Preston a C, Rita has a C as well. It's never going to trigger. That never matters. And if it does, you got lucky. You were the one person in the year who got this effect. It's still +2 though. So is Agnes's. So is Agnes's. So that's why it's just stats, right? It's just stats. It's just +2. It's just a +2 increase. Another thing I've seen it be relevant once, and I was like, it's still not great. Like, even if it's relevant, you're like, cool, awesome, wow, who cares, right? It's just a C tier. It's not D tier by no means. By no means I'm like, I think it's bad. It's just, I mean, I just said it was bad, but I don't mean like it's detrimental. It's just like not great. Yeah, it's maybe like, if you can make it work, it's kind of poggy, but like, and you can actually take advantage of it, but still like that take advantage of it is still so minor. Still so minor. Okay, who's next? Marie Lambeau, +1. You may add 1 doom or remove 1 doom from a card you control. What do I think about Marie Lambeau? I think right now, her ability is not great. I think right now, her Elder Sign is not that good. It would help Marie get rid of Baron faster. I think it's just a... You get extra actions out of it, but that is assuming you put Doom on something you control. All right, chat. YouTube, you guys can get mad at me. This is my first and probably only D tier Elder Sign ability. I think it's not great. I think it's actively a problem for the game right now, for you right now. I think it's just like, I just don't think it's good. I don't like it. I just don't. That could be changed. Like this one I could be very wrong on. But I think right now with the cards that you have, it's just a +1. But I mean, yeah, no, it's not a D tier. It's a C tier, guys. It's a C tier. It's still just a +1. It's still just a +1. It's just a +1. Let's take it. Let's take it out. Let's take away the feelings I have for Marie from my last one. It's just C. It's just a C tier. It's still just a +1, baby. It's still just a +1 token. If it says you must put a Doom on, then we got a D, right? Then you got a D, baby. I will say, I think that this Elder Sign, Marie's Elder Sign, does lead to D-level choices, but it is not a D-tier Elder Sign. Yeah. It's a C-tier Elder Sign, but it can lead to D-tier and like A-tier plays. Yeah. It can be good or bad, but I can see someone who is not that experienced with Marie, like maybe this guy right here, making D-tier plays with it. Tommy Muldoon, +2. You may move up to 2 damage and a horror from Tommy Muldoon to an ass you control or vice versa. Do you also hate drawing the +1 chaos tokens? Unless I call it, yeah. But I mean, like, if I had to rate the tokens, I would still give the +1, like, fine. It's a C tier. It's still, like, I'm already so high on a test. I'm never, unless I have no other option, I am never taking a test where I need the +1. So if I draw the +1, I'm just like, cool, I pass. I'm never like, thank God I drew the +1. It happens, yes, but like only when I'm forced to. Tommy has to be the same as Carolyn? I don't agree. I think he's just, he's going to be... It's probably just an A tier. It's probably A. I don't think it's A+ because it's like, it's only assets you control. And I think what makes Carolyn so good is that it's like pretty much always active. Yeah, I think Carolyn's is just like always active. Honestly, Tommy Muldoon, I'm a real Chad. He's close to a B tier for me. I think he is A, though. I think I'm going to not follow my gut, and I think he is A tier. But he's close to B, TBH. Because, like, most of the time when I'm playing, my Tommy deck doesn't need to worry about, like, moving damage around because my Tommy doesn't have any damage on him, and I want my assets to leave play, right? So, like, to me, the effect isn't that exciting, but I do respect that it's still a good Elder Sign. It's still good. Mandy Thompson, +0. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a card. Either draw it or commit it to this test. If able, shuffle your deck. That's a good Elder Sign. That's a good Elder Sign. That's going to be an A+. It's a good Elder Sign. If you haven't used your ability yet this turn, it's draw 2 cards of your choice from the top 3 cards of your deck. It's better than Leo because it's better than... Actually, honestly, Shaves, there is an argument that this could be an S tier Elder Sign. I don't think it's there yet. I mean, I don't think it's there for me yet at this point, just because I feel like... with the Mandy one, you're kind of just like, all right. And with like the Will Yorick one, you're like, yeah, let's go. Very strong Elder Sign, though. Very strong. Tony Morgan, +2, place 1 bounty on bounty contracts. This one's tough. This one's tough for me. Because, like, I'm always happy to see it. I'm always happy to see it. And I think what CP's saying there, it's that, yeah, it's, you, in a 4-player game, this would probably be really good. Like, it's really good. In a 2-player game, like, there's, like, less enemies, so, but, oh man, it's just A tier. It's a good, strong Elder Sign ability. It's a good, strong Elder Sign ability, and it works really well for Tony. It makes it so, like, you never run out, right? Hello, is this rating these as much in a vacuum as possible? I'm looking at just the investigator card. I'm looking at just the text on the investigator card for rating these Elder Sign abilities. Yeah, I think Tony's an A. It could be a B, but the problem is, like, you're never, like, it's never dead. It always gives you a bounty, and you can use that bounty immediately when an enemy is drawn, right? Yeah, it's just an A. I've convinced myself. +1. Place 1 charge on Gatebox. A. A. A tier. It's like bounty. It's pretty much just like the bounty contracts. It's like pretty much the exact same thing we're looking at here. If there were no other ways to add charges on things, this would be higher. But like Akachi, it kind of just has gone down in what power could have been, because now it's just like you can refill that gate box like there's no tomorrow, right? So I think A is still a good place for it. I think it's just a good A tier Elder Sign. Yeah, Witchweed has to be good, it's true. Patrice Hathaway, +1. After this test ends, you may shuffle all but 1 card from your discard pile into your deck. So this one we have to look at, like, Patrice specifically. We can't just look at the Elder Sign for this one because it works. We have to talk about Patrice, right? It's good. It's good. If you have her weakness in your discard pile, it's really good. It's really good. But you really don't care about hitting this a lot. So I think we're going to give this one, I think it sits with the others in the A tier. That's what my heart of hearts says. Yeah, nice for the character, but not integral, but I think it's still just good. I think it's still just a good effect, because even if you don't shuffle, for example, your weakness in your deck, that's less time for your weakness to attack you. You get all your cards back, and you can start just doing things again. You draw so many cards a turn that it's like not a problem to have a full deck suddenly. Just a nice A tier. Sister Mary, +1. If you succeed, add a bless token to the bag. Yeah, Dice Gods. Yeah, I'm with you. That's pretty much it. So +1. If you succeed, add a bless token to the bag. This one's tough. But it's always just useful. Like, it always just adds a bless token to the bag. And once again, I'm assuming I'm succeeding. Like, all of these, I'm assuming I'm succeeding. I think it's honestly just an A tier. It's another one that just always does something. Unless your bag is full, right? But it just does something. If I drew this and I got a bless token in the thing, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of sick. Yeah, she has a bless turn every turn, but like now your token just gives you an extra one, right? Like the thing is, like all of these guys, like I don't think she's B tier because like it kind of just does these kind of just like it could do nothing, right? Or it could just not be useful. It could not be this one, but you already have 10, so like that's like I'm not going to be talking about the times where I have 10 bless tokens in the thing. If I get 3 bless tokens by just like taking a test and ending my turn, I think that's good. I think this is fine. A bless token gives you +2, and then you draw another token for that test. That's what a bless token does. I think like if I was ranking this in terms of like if I was ranking the issue, it would be on the lower side of A, but we're not there. We're just putting them in their spots. Amanda Sharp, +0. For this test, you may double the number of skill icons on the card beneath Amanda Sharp. Chat, are you guys ready? You guys ready to say this with me? C tier! Free Clue Finn is B tier? Yeah, it's not reliable enough to be A tier. All these others A tiers, they like do something. Like Zoey, I think actually with Zoey, I might be dropping her down into the B tier when I sit on this for a bit. But it's right now, like, I think just because you have more control over Zoe's. I do agree with what people were saying. It's one of those things where, I just think it's more reliable even than this. But it's not all the time. So, like, maybe I have to consider bringing it down to B tier. Maybe I have to. But damage is king. Damage is good. But there could be times, you know what? I think actually for the spirit of the list, I think, seeing as it's resolving, I think Zoey is a B tier because it's just not always active. It's just not always active. Pretty much everyone else here on this tier list, on the A slot, it's always active. So I do think as we see it shape out more, we have to bring it down to B. And I don't like doing it because I love her Elder Sign, but I just think like seeing this all shape up here, it belongs in B tier. Amanda's though, Even if it didn't say May with her weakness isn't a problem. Amanda is broken, man. She's so strong. She's so strong. But the Elder Sign does, like, legitimately nothing. It does legitimately nothing. So, I mean, I'm always excited to do +1 damage too, but also, like, it could just sometimes just do nothing. So I think if we have to respect the tiers, we have to do this. If I have to respect my own list, this is what we got to do. Amanda, C tier, easy. Next, Trish Scarborough, +2. If this test is an investigation, you may choose any reveal location. You are now investigating as if you were at that location instead. Okay. Are you guys ready for another B tier? Because that's what this is. It's a B tier. Not always active. Most of the time you're at the location you want to be investigating. It's a B tier Elder Sign. Yeah. It's good. It's good when it works, but like I have never really seen it actually do anything. And this is when I've played it and when I've seen Bryn play it. It just doesn't trigger as much as like it feels like it would. Because you're probably at the location you want to be investigating, right? There can be times where it can get really cool, right? But I think there are so many times where it just is just +2. But I think it's just, I think it's not C tier because it does something. I think it sits with these guys in the B tier. Trish, where are you? There you are. Yeah. But it has the chance of doing something, so it's better than all these guys. Jim, I'm sorry. You could do things with the skull, I know, but they just aren't good. Dexter Drake, +2. You may return an asset from your play area to your hand, then draw 1 card. Finn and Trish can't be in the same tier? I mean, I think... I'm going to be honest. I think Finn's Elder Sign is better than Trish's. I think Finn's is better than Trish's. I have never, ever procced Trish's Elder Sign because I'm on the location I want to be on. Dexter is an A+. Great Elder Sign effect. Cyclopean Hammer has turned this guy into a lunatic, and he was already crazy before because he's a magician. You can't trust a magician. This does a lot that also just like fuels things here with Dex. You have to return the thing to your hand, but like if you don't want to be returning your assets to your hand, like that's not good. That's not good. You're playing like me playing Dexter when you should play like Bryn playing Dexter, right? Like, you return your Priest of Two Fates to your hand, load everything up for 1 resource. It's really good. It's a really good Elder Sign. It's, like, always active, right? Yeah, it's just... Yeah, you return Maw to your hand, refresh your health. There's just so many good things you can do with it. Silas Marsh. Yes, the card draw is only resolved if you choose to pick up an asset. It's true. Yes, that is the case. It should be no surprise. Silas Marsh, S tier. I personally think it is the strongest Elder Sign in the game. And I would stand by that until the end of time. It basically takes Minh and Yorick and puts their Elder Sign effect together. You use it to grab a resource. And the thing is, you know you're going to pass the test when you draw it, right? You then use it to grab your resourceful, to grab another card, and you use that resourceful to grab another card. All from your discard pile. In addition, look at the situation where you grab Unrelenting, play Unrelenting, draw 2 more cards, put that Unrelenting into your hand because you know you've passed the test. It's a very good Elder Sign. or pre-taboo, you catastrophe, you just break the game. Yeah. Even even outside of these combos, just looking at the thing, like it has the Yorick thing where you get to choose a card from your discard pile to commit to this test. Like you take a card from a bigger library than just your hand, or like in Min's case, you have to have things committed to the test. You can just run a test, and then grab something after, right? After you use there. You actually used it to grab a take card, purposely pulled back a card I previously committed and failed. That is sick. Yeah, it's a very good Elder Sign. It's very strong. Nathaniel Cho. +1. If this skill test is successful during an attack, return an event from your discard pile to your hand. That sounds like a B tier to me. It's very good, though. Like, the effect... Actually... It's better than B. It's better than B because events are better than +1 damage, I think. This one is going to be an A tier. This one is going to be an A tier. It's a better Zoey. It's a better Zoey. It's just because you're pulling back more. Like, if we look at them as just as they are, Zoey is +1 damage, which is good. Nathaniel Cho is damage through the form of an event, and the events can get really strong. If I can take Nathaniel Cho and return like a freaking 1-2 punch level 5, I've won the game. I've won the game. The thing that's keeping me from A+ for me is just the fact that you have to do it while fighting. However, with Nathaniel Cho, you pretty much just punch. He doesn't do much else, if anything. Yeah. I could, depending on when you're talking to me, I could put this in A+, but I think I'm just going to leave it in A because it can sometimes, you can draw it at the wrong time, and then you look at your discard pile, you see the 1-2 punch, and then rain starts to fall, and you get really sad, and sad music plays. Harvey Walters, +1, draw 1 card. Hey, that sounds like Daisy Walker to me. That sounds like Daisy. You draw any of these at the wrong time, that's not a reason to drop them a tier. I mean, Dice Gods, that's kind of why we're talking about Finn Edwards and Zoey down here. I think we have to kind of respect the fact that if there are a limit to it, the ones without a limit are just inherently better, right? We just have to. That's just how it is. Because if I draw Harvey Walters, anytime I draw a card. That's not true for Nathaniel Cho. We have to respect that. Of note, Nathaniel Cho's effect is so good that it's still, even with that, he's on par with Harvey. Carolyn has a potential limit. It's true. She does have a potential limit, but the fact that it's can affect any investigator makes it a lot nicer for me. Yeah. Yeah, Harvey Walters is just like Daisy Walker. Consider on average you draw 0.5 Elder Signs per game or so. Man, I wish my average was that low. My Elder Signs and autofails, they sometimes go through the roof. All right, Winifred Habbamock. +1. After this test ends, for every 2 points you succeed by, return a card you committed to the skill test to your hand. Yeah, it is draw 2 on Harvey. That is an excellent point, too. This one I think is... I think I undervalue this one because when I have played Winifred... I have played her wrong. I have played her not great. But I think I'll probably have a better time with Winifred when I play her in a 3-player game. And it's after the test ends. I think that this is an A tier. I think it's an A tier. Winifred! There you are. But now the question, I see something. Is it Min with higher possible upside? No. I think Min's is just better because sometimes you can still just, bomb it. Yeah, and how often I mean, with Winifred, I'm committing 2 cards, right? So I'm probably going to succeed by 2. I get to return a card. Min is only skills. Oh, Mr. Wonderboy, that's a great point. This is any card. Ooh, I'm stuck here. Yeah, I think it's on par with Min. I think you're right, chat. I think now that I dig a bit deeper, it's on par with Min. It's about there. It's a good elder sign. It is a good elder sign. And like you're always committing, right? You're always, like, you should be committing, like, all the time with Winifred. Because the thing that I'm doing wrong with her is I'm just playing her like a normal green investigator. She is not. You just basically are always drawing cards from your deck, right? You're always trying to commit 2 cards. You're always trying to add more. You're trying to get more value. So the second you draw the elder sign, you don't lose that value. So it gets even better, right? I think she is A+. I think chat has convinced me. Jacqueline Fine, +1. If this effect is canceled or ignored, draw 1 card. B? B? B tier. It has the potential to do something. But it does something by doing nothing, which is incredible. It's just, I think it's just B tier. If I draw it without using my thing, I'm just like, okay, thanks, right? I think it's just a B tier thing. Yeah, she didn't see this one coming. Stella Clark, +1. You may instead choose to automatically fail this skill test to heal 1 damage and 1 horror. B tier. For me personally. She has a lot of fail for. Yeah, she does. But the thing is, like, I don't care about damage and or horror. And I'd rather just, like, probably more often than not pass the test. I think it is. Yeah, if it was just fail and not automatically fail. Yeah, so you can actually, like, interact with things. Yeah, this is just a B tier. Honestly, like, Stella's so strong that you're never going to die anyway. Like, Stella's so strong, you're never going to die. Even if you never draw the elder sign, you're not going to care. And I understand Stella wants to fail, but if it's drawn during the Mythos phase, it's really good. I think if it's drawn during the Investigator phase, it's less good. If you draw this during the Mythos phase, you're like, okay, yeah, let's fail. I'll heal, take some damage, and get an action, right? If you do it during the Investigator phase, if you're purposely choosing to fail an action, I'm going to look at you side-eye. Like at this point, like with Rex. If you're using Rex to draw cards, I'm going to look at you like, what are you doing? You're fine. You don't need those cards. You don't need the healing. That's for me anyway. I can see people liking Stella's ability, but for me, I think it's a B tier. Oh, sad. We're almost done. We're almost done. Gloria Goldberg. +1. Look at the top card of the encounter deck. A plus. A plus. I think it's better than the A's, who have like something that works for their character, because at the very least she could this can turn essentially into a ward of protection to discard an Ancient Evils. It's just really good. It's just very good. It's not S tier because it doesn't put you so far ahead IMO, but I do think it's an A plus. Daniela Reyes. +1. If you were attacked by an enemy this round, you automatically succeed instead. B tier. B tier. C tier, actually. It's C tier. It is. It's Wendy Adams. It's Wendy Adams. It's a C tier. It's a C tier. No, it's a C tier. Yeah, I was scrolling up here to put her up there. Then I saw Wendy, and I'm like, this is basically just Wendy's ability. That's a C tier. Yeah, if is C tier. If can be B tier. If can be B tier if the payoff's really good. But this is just you automatically succeed, right? Norman Withers. +X. You may swap the top card of your deck with a card in your hand. X is the resource cost of the top card of your deck. What's my criteria for a D tier? It's actively harmful. So, like, for example, the Mystic, custom Mystic from the Darkest Dungeon one. Yeah. I think this one is just, I think this one is a C tier. The Switch is good, but, like, does it really matter? Yeah, the swapping is nice. The swapping is nice if you want to play something from your hand on the cheap. That is true. Is that enough for me to put it in B? I think that's enough to put it in B. I do think that, yeah, there's a window that you can actually take advantage of it more than just stats. More than just stats. Because it could change your... It mostly doesn't matter, but like the times it can, right? It's basically like, oh, hey, this is sick. I get to switch this card here and I can actually play it this turn. Monterey Jack, +1. If you started this round one or more locations away from your current location, gain 1 resource or draw a card. We have the if rule here, chat. So ifs automatically like make me think lower of it. I think it is a B. I think it is a B just because it's not reliable. It's not reliable, and I think we just have to follow that. It's just not reliable enough, and it's sitting with all of these other guys. Daisy Walker, for example, always draws a card. Right? Harvey Walters always draws 2 cards. Luke always gets a charge. Monterey Jack's not always going to get his thing. Yeah, I think that's B. I think it's still very good. I really like it, but I think it's just a B tier if we're looking at everything else. Lily Chen, +2. After this test ends, flip a broken discipline you control to its unbroken side. This one's so tricky, okay? Because when it hits and it's relevant, it is absolutely game-changing, right? It's just absolutely game-changing if it hits at the right time. If it hits anywhere else, it's like, cool. And it's so tough. Because when it matters... it's like an A+. When it doesn't matter, it's a C. So I think if we're just following everything else, wouldn't say it's game changing. It can be. There can be times where it can just bust your game wide open. So I think it's just a B tier, though. I think it's just a B tier. It's following everything else. It's following everything else. Bob Jenkins, +1 for each item asset you control. Do you see what I see? C tier. Ashcan should move down 1 level because you need Duke to be exhausted. That's a fair point, but I'm going to say that Ashcan is still... The Duke thing is so good. It's your first action should be Duke, right? You draw it during the Mythos phase, it sucks, but like you draw it... I think it's just... I think it makes up for it, I think. Yeah, Jenny and Bob, Elder Signs are really lucky cigarette case feeders. That is true, and my point to that earlier was like if I have to, the difference between me winning the game is searching 9 cards and searching 15 cards. I've probably made a mistake somewhere else, right? Yeah, big numbers equals C. I don't have parallel Wendy on this. Do I have her in the thing? All right, well, we'll put her, but I don't have a token for her in this tier list. We'll put her there, though. All right. Roland Banks, +2. Choose a directive asset. You may ignore its regulation ability this round. That's a cool card. That's a cool effect. Probably just B tier, right? It fits with everything else we've talked about with the B tier. It's just kind of that, right? It's just kind of, it's, when it matters, it matters. When it doesn't, which is most of the time, it's a B tier. Your deck is already built to mitigate regulations. It is true. But it's sometimes, I think the upside is still enough that it could like make you change your play pattern for the better, and I think that's enough worthy of a B there. +1, you may return a tome asset from your discard pile to your hand. Is that good? Is that good? What the frick is this Elder Sign? How did your tome get in the discard in the first place? Your Schaffner's is gone. You also could commit them, I assume? This just reads B tier to me. Which is kind of crazy, the difference between Will Yorick and this. Right? Like, am I not crazy? Like, do you guys agree that this feels just actively weaker? Bring back your Necronomicon. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's not that much actively weaker. No, I think A is a fine point for it. I think A is a fine point. I think A, the Necronomicon, I think it's just, you can do some busted things with that, I think. You can bring your Necronomicon back, the evil one. How often does it hit? Man, if it hits once, I'm happy. I just think, like, I have to respect Graveguard recursion, right? Like, I have to respect that getting a card from your discard pile is about on par with drawing a card. It is the same, right? These are effectively the same. Like, you can draw more cards with this, but assuming you have one tome, they're the exact same thing. Because you're going to play and probably get rid of a tome as part of a test when you're ready, right? Yeah, I think it's an A. Skids O'Toole, +1. Choose a level 2 or less card in your discard pile. Add the chosen card to your hand. S tier. A+, you guys are wild. Don't make me laugh, chat. This is the second best elder sign in the game. This is the second strongest elder sign in the game, IMO. Because do you know what's nice about your level 2 cards? They're strong. And you like to play them twice. Yeah, his elder sign is absolutely crazy. You hit and you're like, man, I'll just grab whatever, like pretty much whatever I want here. Yeah. Yeah, it's very strong. Get back black market. Yeah, pog off with some more black market, right? It's nuts. It's a very strong elder sign. I feel very confident about this S tier. I feel very confident. Yeah, exactly. Level 2 or less is basically every card and all the cards that you're going to have in your discard pile, like your events, right? Like you put your red clock in play, you never discard it, and then you just go to Action City, right? It's juicy. It's a juicy thing. Agnes Baker, +1. You may heal 1 damage. A tier. A tier. Oh, Shapes, thank you so much for the 666. Oh, yeah, I think this just fits in the A tier. The damage on her, in context of her ability, is very relevant, right? Yeah. It's reliable. You're going to do it. Your first turn with Agnes can very comfortably be a read the signs. You reduce its cost by 2, right? Shuffle it into your deck, and now your elder sign is active. It's an A tier. It could even reasonably be in Agnes A+ tier, right? But I think I'm going to leave it as A. Wendy Adams, Parallel. +2. Search the Chaos Bag for up to 2 Blessed and/or Curse tokens and reveal them, ignoring their effects. Now you might be wondering, what the frick am I doing this for? After you successfully evade a non-elite enemy as her ability, seal either one Bless or 1 Curse token from the Chaos Bag, or any Bless or Curse tokens revealed from this Chaos Bag during this test on that enemy. Honestly, so sealing them on the enemy also has a point because their title memento, it allows them, when doom is placed on that enemy or that enemy would ready, you get to remove a token on them instead of them doing that thing. I'm hovering between B and A, and I think I'm going to settle on A. Oh, she doesn't have one. She does not have one. Okay. So let's just go through this list and see if there's any that really don't resonate with me. By itself, though, it's just a +4. No, because you don't get their effects, right? It's still just a +2. Review Father... No, Father Mateo is really good. So, Father Mateo, I personally think the best use from him is that extra action. And Skids, we gave the resources to, which is an action you have to pay. And I think just Father Mateo's is just really good. The additional action is really nice. Yeah. The auto succeed doesn't affect me too much because I'm like I said, I like to assume if I draw the Elder Sign, I pass. But yeah, I agree. I think he's third best. He's third best, and then Yorick is fourth best. I think Cho is very good. The problem with him, though, is that it can whiff, and I think that's why I think A is where I feel happiest with him. I think Winifred is good. I don't think she's S tier. Because the thing that separates A tier, so A plus tier and S tier for me, is the fact that you actually don't need to commit anything to it. It just works, right? Assuming you have cards in your discard pile, which you will, right? If Cho's whiffs, you did something wrong. Yeah, but Cho, I could still draw it. Like, the thing is, guys, if we are going to dock everyone else for the potential of drawing the Elder Sign during the Mythos phase and it doing nothing, we have to treat that dock to all investigators. That's why Nathaniel Cho on this list gets a bigger bump, because his thing is so strong. It makes up for the fact that it can just whiff, right? Because are you taking no brain tests? Like, are you taking no tests where it could just whiff? And the thing is, if we have to treat that whiff to everybody, we have to treat it to everybody, right? Yeah, I think Winifred's very good, but I don't think she's S tier for me personally, just because you don't have to. Like, you don't have to do anything. While you're just playing the game, without needing to commit additional resources, you can just get it done. Not sure about Sefina still, just +3. +3, but you also effectively draw a card. So that's why I like her there. Sick. Yeah. The fine Elder Signs. The Elder Signs that are good, but they can become great. The great Elder Signs, the really good Elder Signs, and the bonkers Elder Signs. Yeah, I think this is a good list. Thank you, chat, by the way. I really liked the discussion on this one. This was a blast to record. If you think there's... this is also for YouTube as well. If you think there are any... other tier lists that involve investigators that you think would be fun to do, let me know, because Friday is Variety Day on stream. So it's the perfect day to record something like this. So if you have any ideas, you can let me know in the chat, in the comments, or on the Discord, or hell, even on our Patreon. Oh my God. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is via our Patreon page. It allows me to make more Arkham content. Well, also, actually, it's the reason why I also stream on Fridays for Arkham now, because of your guys' awesome support. So thank you so much. If you're interested for that, you can check in the description down below. Have a good one, and as always, GG's.